Who remembers Sonic the Hedgehog 3? And Sonic & Knuckles? I mean, Sega may have forgotten about these games for around a decade and some, but I remember them well. And by remember them, I mean I remember the re-release on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console. Little known fact, that version even featured Sonic 3 and Knuckles' famous lock-on feature. Yeah, for those not in the know, you could lock on Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles to get the true full Sonic 3 experience that was split in two back in the 90s, cause of a host of reasons I won't be covering in this video. Just know that Sonic 3, as in the game released and called Sonic 3, was just half a game. Sonic & Knuckles was the second half and released as a weird-ass bootleg-looking cartridge not even a year later. And the full experience is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or as I call it, 1600 Wii points well spent. Also, how about that name? Yeah, the full experience is actually called Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I usually just refer to that as Sonic 3 or the Complete Sonic 3, and that's not to be confused with the excellent ROM hack Sonic 3 Complete, and none of that is technically even what we're talking about today, specifically, because we're diving into Sonic 3's weirdest re-release, the Sonic & Knuckles collection for PC. This is Stuff We Play, home of everything weird and retro. Today's look, Sonic 3 and Knuckles Weird Windows 95 port. But before we dive into this game you can play on your PC, let me tell you about something you may want to use with your own PC or Mac, a new microphone. That's right, today's video is made possible in part by Maono with their very Lite AU902 microphone. And when I say possible in part, I quite literally mean possible in part because I'm using this microphone as I record this right now. I've used a lot of microphones over the past several years on YouTube. I mean, I started with a Blue Snowball, got to use some really nice professional stuff while in uni, and then spent most of the past few years on here using a Rode VideoMic Pro with a small stand and a 3.5mm to USB adapter because, oh no. I intended that to just be a temporary solution until I got something better for standalone voice work and just used a Rode mic for on-camera bits, but that temporary fix ended up lasting 2.5 years. That mic setup didn't just encompass YouTube either. Twitch streams, the Speedrun podcast, and even conducting and participating in Zoom meetings, that's how much I rely on a decent mic to get me through the week. Anyways, at sub $100 CAD, the Maono Very Lite is pretty dang solid. Small, yes, but it's powered by a USB-C cable, has a proper headphone jack on the back for audio monitoring. It definitely sounds quality enough to be a good microphone for those starting out in content creation, who want something cheap but better than their average laptop mic for virtual meetings, or who just want something they can cart around with ease. If you want to look into ordering one for yourself, then just follow the link in the description below. Thanks for the love, Maono. Now let's take a hard left and talk about something I know everyone finds exciting: installing old PC software. I figured there could be some issues installing the Sonic & Knuckles collection. I mean, first off, this was created for old school Windows 95 PCs. A ton of old school software just won't work on a modern Windows 10 machine. I kind of hoped I could up my chance of this working right though by buying a later re-release of this re-release from the UK. This is an XPLOSIV re-release from 2003, and it cost me a whopping $11. XPLOSIV isn't a brand we ever had in North America, but apparently this was a British line of budget re-release of older PC games. Real bargain bin stuff. Who is Peggy and should I be scared of them? Anyways, the little Windows XP box is ticked on the back, but my Windows XP machine is needing a little bit of work right now. So I just crossed my fingers and hoped it worked on Windows 10. It didn't. No matter how much I screwed around with settings, it just would not launch, even though my PC recognized it. Perhaps it's for the best though, because if it did work, it would run ludicrously fast. The frame rate in the Sonic & Knuckles collection is not locked. That's to say, the speed of the game can vary depending on how fast your PC is, and I'm fairly certain whatever you're watching this video on right now is faster than a PC from 1997. I mean, damn, I'd certainly hope whatever you're watching this on has more than 16 megs of RAM. Anyways, the result of running this on something that's way newer than anything it was intended for: ludicrous speed. So how do we get past the game refusing to launch, speeds that make you go to plaid, and any other potential issues that may arise? Well, we have patches for that. These specifically are fan-made patches I found on the PC Gaming Wiki that not only allow the game to work and run at proper speed, but also allow me to boot without a disc. Neat! Anyways, once we're past the patches, we're into the game itself. As we can see from this Microsoft Painterific startup screen, we have base Sonic 3, standalone Sonic & Knuckles, and, of course, the full Sonic & Knuckles adventure. Also, side note, before anyone mentions it in the comments, I know what I just said, and yes, I know Knuckles and Sonic 2 exists. Anyways, this all plays really well on PC. This isn't a full review of Sonic 3 itself. I mean, I don't know, ask someone like G the Next Level about it if you want. If you haven't played this game, just know it's one of the 90s finest platformers. And between the multiple endings, multiple characters, and the expertly crafted level design, it's definitely a title I'd call required playing for any Sonic or Sega fan. And let me tell y'all about this PC version. It's kind of uncanny. A while back, I played a version of Mega Man X for DOS that felt almost like the SNES original. Yeah, that one still had some jank here or there. But the proper speed with the sound turned off, most of the time the Sonic & Knuckles collection could actually pass as a Genesis version. This is one of the best console to PC conversions of that era. It's funny too, as not all Sega ports of the time were this faithful. The PC port of Sonic 3D Blast, for example, was not a straight port of the Genesis or Saturn version, but was instead a bastard love child of the two. And while all of that's kind of odd, if this was all this port had to offer, it would not be worth making a video about. No, what makes the Sonic & Knuckles collection stick out is the soundtrack. And I don't just mean the fact that these are all solid MIDI renditions of the S3 and K soundtrack on Genesis. See, there's an elephant in the room that always has to be mentioned whenever a Sonic fangirl talks Sonic 3. Michael Jackson. Though he wasn't officially credited at the time for a variety of reasons I won't be going into, Michael Jackson was involved in the production of several of the tunes found in Sonic 3. And that's specifically the Sonic 3 portion. None of the Sonic & Knuckles portion of the OST had his influence. And you can kind of tell when listening, if you're listening for it. This would cause some weirdness with Sonic 3 re-releases though. I think a lot of it just had to do with legal shenanigans. I think this explains why the last Sonic 3 re-release at the making of this video was on the 10th of June 2009 on Xbox Live Arcade, about 2 weeks before MJ himself died. The music tracks with the most Jackson influence were the themes of Carnival Night Zone, Ice Cap Zone, Launch Base Zone, and the base Sonic 3 versions of the credits theme and the Knuckles theme. In the Sonic & Knuckles collection though, all of these themes are changed, and they really aren't as good as the versions found in the Genesis release, save for this version of Knuckles' theme, which fucking slaps. At first, it may seem like they were changed because of legal shenanigans, but no, hold the phone, folks! In November 2019, a prototype version of Sonic 3, the Genesis version, was released online. Dating from November 1993, 3 months before base Sonic 3's release, this thing featured a host of differences that most retro gaming fans agreed to call pretty damn rad. Along with 2 Sonic & Knuckles zones being partially playable, special stages being totally unplayable, and Sonic riding in on a surfboard at the beginning instead of his plane, it also features some different music. Namely, all those songs I mentioned earlier that were changed in the Sonic & Knuckles collection, yeah, all those versions of those songs are present in Genesis form here. I guess this means that the Sonic & Knuckles collection was, in kind of weird way, Sonic 3 it was originally intended. Granted, though the original beta music has grown on me after hearing their Genesis versions, I still just prefer the Jackson tunes. Still, when I found this out, it kind of blew my mind. Anyways, with the Sonic Origins collection coming out next year, I really wanted to talk about Sonic 3. This Nintendo Switch re-release is going to be the first time Sonic 3 and Knuckles has been given a new port in nearly 13 years. And that's really saying something, seeing how often Sega loves to get some new money from their old games. Speaking of the Sonic Origins collection, that's likely going to be the way I recommend playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles when it comes out. Well, that or on a modern PC through other methods, which I guess for legality's sake, yeah, sure, that's the Steam version I'm talking about. Anyways, there's no real reason to play the Sonic & Knuckles collection of Sonic 3 and Knuckles nowadays, and there's certainly no reason to go out of your way to import this European re-release of this re-release, but honestly, I'm still glad to have it. Just a longtime retro games lover. Anyways, on that note, I hope you enjoyed this look at this weird port of this great game. Stuff We Play is supported in part by our YouTube channel members, Patreon patrons, and paid Twitch subs. We get perks such as a special role in the official Discord server, videos and podcast episodes early, and even some say on what videos I do next. You can find links to all of that in the description below, along with links to my various social media pages. I also want to know in the comments below, should I review the Sonic Origins collection when it launches on the Switch? Well, let me know, as I do read what y'all write. So on that note, thank you very much for watching, stay classy, and I'll see you next time.